Manisha Mohanty, Regional Community Associate, Marketing and Content Head, Team CSL. First and foremost, Startup Odisha, in association with Carve Startup Labs, is presenting you its every Saturday Mentor Connect program. I would like to thank Prashant Biswal, Mr. Rashmi Ranjan Sahu, Mr. Saurav Ranjan Sahu, Mr. Madan Mohan Mahapatra, and I would extend my sincere gratitude to the whole team of Startup Odisha, Government of Odisha. I would like to thank Mr. Vishnu Nagraj, the founder of Carve Startup Labs, for taking up this great initiative along with the whole team of CSL. Now it's time to introduce you all to our mentor for today's webinar session. It's an absolute honor for me to introduce Tal Catran, Accelerators Guru and international keynote speaker, startup ecosystem builder, startup nation, and a TEDx speaker. He's a tech entrepreneur, lecturer, a series of lectures that guide key players in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. He has established 14 tech accelerators in the startup nation and continues to open two new ones a year. Over the time and over through hard work, he has become a guru on building accelerators, hubs, startups, and entire ecosystem, motivating and inspiring entrepreneurs, thereby created a world record and got entitled as Accelerators Guru. We welcome you, sir, to this platform on this webinar session. Now, I would request you, sir, to take over the session and enlighten our audience with your knowledge and speak on the session. Over to you, sir.
Hi, thank you, Manisha. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Vishnu, thank you for inviting me for this session. We will spend the next hour, and what is important for me to try and make is conversation. I don't want to lecture too much. I want to answer some of your questions. If you can, share with me maybe some of your queries, some of your things that bother you right now. If you have a startup, I hope some of you here in the audience have startups, maybe have an idea for a startup. Maybe you're in a much more progressive stage. Maybe you have, you're focused on an idea. Maybe you wrote the spec for the technology that you want to develop. Maybe you have already an MVP. Maybe you have first customers. All this is open for discussion. What is clear is that we are not in normal times. We know. And change is in the air, as we say. We need to do some change, and we need to face Corona. That is reality. Actually, Israel, for the last, I would say, 2 weeks, we have done major steps towards going back to normal. Sadly, from yesterday, it seems that the second wave, some call it second wave, some call it, let's say, not the end of the first one, but it seems that now numbers are starting to grow. I remind you, Israel is a very small country. I think maybe in the size of Bangalore, about 9 million people total. It's a small country. Yeah, we're like a neighborhood in India, but nevertheless very modern, very progressed. And there is a reason, why Israel is referred to as the startup nation, as per capita, per 1 million people. Israel has the largest number of startups in the world. Okay, and 1,500 new startups open each year. And I can tell you that was the case during Corona. I can't tell you how many new startups really open, but I can tell you that the startup scene in Israel continued on working. We continue raising funds. We did some nice exits. So this is ongoing. So in that regard, I want to have a discussion with you again about the hurdles, about the difficulties that Corona, COVID-19 brought, and how to overcome them, how to make things better, how to still achieve your goals. So I leave the chat open for you, but since we are a small number of people so far, I think it will be also okay, in a nice way to interrupt. With me in the call is Rovshan. Maybe you see him also on the screen. Rovshan is originally from Azerbaijan, currently lives in Turkey, and he is in charge of a digital marketing agency that also deals with my digital marketing. And he will share with you some links during the call, links that will help you reach out to me through LinkedIn, Facebook, and maybe see some of the videos on my YouTube channel. I'm in close contact with India. India is very dear to me. And actually, for the last 3 years, I've been running an accelerator in Gargaon, in Haryana. As you know, it's almost New Delhi. And that was only for Indian startups. So my mission was to train Indian startups. And I also visited Odisha, I think 2 years back, maybe. I think, Vishnu, I shared with you the link for my visit. So I was actually in Odisha, and I know Indian people, and I think most of my friends, for sure, on LinkedIn and Facebook are actually from India. So I'm in close contact, and I work with many startups. And well, it was not easy, as we say, for a startup before Corona. Now it's not much more difficult, but it's still a struggle. So keep trace of what Robshan is sharing on the chat. I think it will be very significant information and very valuable information. And as I said, I invite you all to, write or to ask during my conversation. I hope you all hear me well. I see this conversation is also recorded and later on will be shared with everyone. So coming back to where we are right now. So COVID-19 caught us all by surprise. This is clear. I mean, we were not ready for this pandemic. Economically, there's a term. It's called black swan. Black swan is a term used for a situation, for an event that was unexpected and had a significant impact on the economy. And no doubt, Corona made this impact and still making this impact. I know that relatively India is dealing with it bravely and very good, considering some of modern European countries, but for sure it doesn't matter good or bad, the situation is still chaotic. We don't know what's what. Now, if you think about it, as we call startup life, this is no different than a startup life, because if you have a startup, you know that you are in a kind of a survival mode. This is startup life, survival mode, hoping to raise money tomorrow, hoping that the MVP will be ready. A lot of unclarity, a lot of uncertainty. So in that regard, well, we startups say to the world, welcome to our life. This is our day-to-day. Still, it is not easy. I want to really emphasize on the need to listen to government instructions, health ministry, municipality, authorities in general. Listen to the instruction, stay away, stay apart. Social distancing is a must. I think that what we see since, let's say, last 2-3 days in Israel is that people did not pay attention now, feeling like Corona is over. So we have been under lockdown like the rest of the world for the last almost 3 months, about 90 days under lockdown. Remote distancing, we were locked down at home, not seeing the family, I mean, the parents, the grandparents. It was like this all over the world. I think that, I know that economy had a great impact on the need of the government to loosen up a bit or to let people go out. And people in their state of mind decided or figured or want to believe that Corona is over. And we see the result almost immediately. And the result is bad. The result is that now we are back to infected people. The numbers are growing slowly. At the peak, Israel had about 17,000 people tested for corona, meaning tested and confirmed for corona. The number of dead is not that big. It's about 280. And the numbers of people healing from corona is on the rise, and which is a good news. But still, there is some difficulty. So my first advice to you: just listen. Don't look away. Don't think you know everything. You have people that know how to take decisions, and you must listen to them. It is clear, if you think about it, that corona was the big equalizer. So in a way, corona made us all equal. Why? It didn't matter how rich you are. It didn't matter if you have your private jet or if you drive a Ferrari and not a Maruti. It didn't matter. Why? It's because we were all locked down. We were all had to stay at home. So it didn't really matter what you have. And in this sense, it was an equalizer. For sometimes we all felt the same. Did that affect us? I would say not too much. I would say this because Corona, thank God, was here for a short period of time. And now we learn that the only thing we can do is live alongside Corona, because Corona is here to stay. This is also clear. If it's not Corona, it will be the next virus that will come into our life. So in that regard, we will have to still deal with it for a period of time. As we say, if some of you use Waze app, it's like we are now calculating the route again. This is clear. We are isolated. We are at home. We don't fly, but we work from everywhere. We learn from everywhere. We dress less. Yes, we may be treating ourselves less. We're getting fat. We don't do sports. Why we can't leave home? But this is only an excuse. Believe me, put on YouTube some of those gymnast people and you can do your training. And believe me, this is something that you need to do. There is a lot of uncertainty. Economically, we see unemployment on the rise. Also in Israel, the numbers are only currently not increasing anymore, but are still relatively very, very high number of unemployment, and the fear of the day after. Will I be called back to my job? Will I be fired? We know, we can assume, we can estimate that about 20% of people will not be called back for work. They will be unemployed, 20%. And the ones that will be called home, I would assume they will have to see a salary cut of about 15% on the wages. I think it's clear. I think that instead of looking at your employer and say, oh my God, you're horrible, how can you deduct from my salary? You need to understand that he is suffering the same way. I mean, this is not something that only employees are suffering. That's the world is suffering. It's a kind of a domino effect. We see numbers of people sick with corona getting close to 6 million, and the numbers are still increasing. Seeing the number of dead is still increasing, but also the numbers of people that heal and go back with their lives. All in all, in the world, we have about, I think, 245 countries, and 213 out of that are infected. So the numbers are clear. So still, Corona is, as I say, is here. People ask or show interest is, why is the number of people dying in Israel is relatively low, thank God. It is not the lowest. I think Greece and Cyprus are even lower. Thailand is even lower. So in Israel, it was in a way easy to contain the corona. First of all, because we have just one international airport. So once this was shut and we closed borders, it was quite easy to do. First. Second, I think we came quite prepared to Corona. We were not the first, but among the first to deal with Corona. So in this sense, we were quite, I would say, prepared. The health system is very modern and advanced, but we see that worldwide. Health systems worldwide had to struggle and still struggle with the pandemic. In Europe, it was much more severe. And I think the reason for that is in Israel, the average age of population is quite young. Is quite young, where in Europe it is much older. Good news is that vaccine antibody is being developed. I think USA is leading on that. Also, Israel is quite a leader on that. We have some vaccine already in the process. It will not be ready within the coming months, probably not even this year. And the big fear is towards winter. Winter is in Israel is about October, November, and we are probably will have to face the issue of Corona or the effect later. But again, this is the world is now facing. Regarding the employment market, so we see that we work from home. Now, I don't know if it's only me, but I know now it's not only me because I speak to people all over the world, and all people say, listen, actually, we work much harder from home. I don't know how it is with you guys, but we really work harder from home. And the one thing that really changed is that we don't count the hours anymore. Why? We are here at home. No one sees us, so no one is really. It's not relevant how many hours we work. It is about what we perform. What's the input? What do we deliver? Okay. So on that regard, working from home much harder. I think also fixated in a way in the minds of employers. I hear now many big companies, CEOs saying that it will for sure will not go back to normal. There will be a change, and the change will be okay. That is we will not go back to work 5 days or 6 days in the office. It will be now mixed. We will work more from home, but we will also use the office, which of course has a big effect on the economy. It's a kind of a, as we say, a domino. So now if we go less for work, we don't need big offices. If we don't go a lot to work, what about the restaurants near the office building? We will use them less. We are driving less, using less petrol. We are using less the train, the tube. All that has a big effect, big impact on the economy, which we don't know what it will be, but it will sure be there. Think, for instance, how many office buildings in the coming maybe months already will do a change from office building to living building. It will be changed to apartments. Maybe good. Maybe now the prices of apartment will go lower because there will be much more to choose. Probably this will have an effect. But if restaurants now work less, it again has an impact on the employment, or more to do on the unemployment. So you see, when we say the new normal, when we say the day after, this is what economists are doing right now, thinking about the effect. Think about flights. Well, most companies, not most, all companies are grounded. Almost no flights. Pilots are at home. Stewards are at home. The entire industry has not slowed down, frozen totally. Again, there will be an effect. But what happens when we will start flying? Who knows? Maybe they need to change the plane, how we sit. The number of people sitting in the plane now will be much less. If that happens, probably the price of tickets will increase. Probably in the beginning, more businessmen will fly. Maybe because of Corona and unemployment, people don't have money to spend anyway on luxury, on flying abroad. Okay? This is the effect that we're talking about. This is the Corona effect. This is the day after. And this is what we need to address. And when I mean address, is that we need to see in all this chaos also the opportunity, and of course, we will discuss it. I think that it is very important for workers, for employees, to show their allegiance, to show their trust, to keep in touch with their workplace. Not to say, listen, I will send home. That's it. That's my boss's problem. No, it's your problem. If you're not in touch with your boss, believe me, it is your problem. I think that, by the way, we all say we work from home. The fact that you have a laptop and you have internet doesn't really mean you work. It means maybe you have the tools to work, but maybe you're not exactly working. Maybe, okay, you need to have yourself a schedule. Instead of getting out of bed at noon, because you can, who cares, right? And you don't dress and you don't do sport, but actually you don't go with your day-to-day, but you get accustomed to being this way. All of a sudden, when people tell you, hey, you want to meet, you say, let's talk. All of a sudden, where is privacy? Well, we used to not bring, or we thought we're not bringing work home. But currently, you're now in my living room. My family is all around me saying, Dad, get on with it. We want to have some fun. We want to put TV. And you hear the dog, you hear the kids. This has changed. This is already an effect on our life. All of a sudden, the workplace is in our home. This is how we work. Hey, but not everyone is ready for this. Not everyone is comfortable sitting at home, taking care of kids and doing their work and doing meetings. As now there is again social distancing, so we don't get to meet one another. We just do this, okay? It's in a way still frontal, but it's virtual, because you don't know what I dress from here down. You don't know what's around me right now. You don't know many things, okay? And it's still in a way a bit plastic, but this is how it's gonna be. This will change a bit after, just because people, as we say, are a social animal. We will go back to handshake, enough with the elbows, and we will hug and we will kiss. It's because, again, we're a social animal. We need it. We need it. And thank God Corona was here for a short time. I don't know. If we had this maybe for 2 years, probably things will change. Probably we get accustomed to new behavior. I don't think this is the case right now. Think about talking on the phone. I see many people, I mean, we don't use the phone like we used to, because all of a sudden we use the phone like this. We need to see who is there. This ended. Ask yourself why. It's like people feel they're on an isolated island and maybe they're only one in the world, so they really want to see the person on the other side. And when you say to someone, hey, okay, so let's schedule for, I don't know, Monday at 10 a.m. So immediately the first reaction, should I send you a Zoom invite? Will we do WhatsApp call? I mean, we need to see. Think, this changed. Again, the impact. The impact is the fact that when we do video, we use a broader bandwidth of the internet, but the internet is limited. So all of a sudden you see that Netflix and YouTube are slower. You see, there's something, one thing happens here and somewhere else there is an impact. Some of it is very close in our life. Many people are still dwelling, still dwelling on the today. Oh, it's hard, or it's difficult. Oh, I can't pay anymore. I'm not getting any customers. Raising money is always difficult. What to do? I think put it aside It is not healthy. It is not proactive. It will not do anything for you to dwell. Think about not the tomorrow, the today. The today is already changed. Think about it today. Get with the program. Understand that if you are a startup, and by saying startup, I want to explain. People think startup, they think technology. I think startup, I think people, because people are the startup. And then comes the technology. Without the people, there is no technology. Okay? So people are the ones moving this startup ecosystem, this innovation, okay? This development. People are the ones coming up with the ideas. People are the creative ones, okay? They come up with the ideas, they develop them, they manufacture them. They raise money from other people that invest in them. People are the one using what other people invented. So first of all, startups is people. And when I say twist, pivot your startup, I say here, you, the team, the CEO, you need to pivot. Pivot yourself, pivot your startup. Understand Corona is here. See the opportunity. Understand that if you are not riding this wave of Corona, your time is very limited. We see that three out of every four startup is facing difficulties all around, raising funds, firing people, not being able to do sales. How can you sell in a time of a crisis? Who will buy from you? In a time of crisis, even the big companies, see, IBM is firing. You see what's going on with Airbnb. You see WeWork. They are disappearing. Those dinosaurs are disappearing from the world because of Corona. Why? They're too big. They are not agile like you. Okay, they're too big, too slow to adjust to the situation, you know? But you as a startup, you are quicker. And this is your time. This is your time, as I say, to pivot and make the change. Okay, let me try and do this. How can I know how many of you have startups? I mean, can you maybe, I don't know, write me what something, or you want to chip in and, you know, say something, please feel okay with this, just to understand how many of you have startups, and please prepare your questions, because I think we will soon start dealing with your problems right now. So let me maybe add just a few little things forward. People ask me many times which clusters of technology I think will grow and which are declining and continue to decline. Well, I will say, first of all, the declining one are for sure the travel tech. And travel tech, I mean flights and everything around the aircraft, okay? It is not just the flying. It is not just the pilots. It is not just the airlines. It's everything around them, including the airports themselves. You know, in India, you have the GMRs and the other big company, I don't recall the name. So, you know, they don't own planes, okay? But they see the difficulty only by owning the airport. So airlines, big problems. Hotels are shut. Hotels are shut. Restaurants, well, yes, now they open the restaurant, but the social distancing means that they can be occupied 50%. That's it. Is that profitable enough for a restaurant to run? I can tell you, no. It will not hold for long. You can do weddings, you can do parties, you can go to recreational parks. These are all shut. So currently, the estimation for the travel tech industry, the losses currently estimated by $250 billion. These are losses. And this number will for sure increase. Think about, again, when we will fly, how we will fly. First of all, you can fly. And some countries opened or about to open their borders. But to the ones who didn't, you can't fly, because if you fly to that country, if you land, they will put you in quarantine for 14 days. And if you return to your own country, you go to quarantine. So you can't afford this, right? So you're not flying. We thought that security before flight was extensive. Well, get ready for the day after Corona. It will be double the time. It's now not just that they need to search us securely, they just need to see if we are healthy or not to get on the plane. So now we don't come an hour before flight or 2 hours. In Israel, they announced we need to come 4 hours. How 4 hours? Third of the day or half of the day I need to stand in line just to fly? I don't want to fly. I will Zoom. I will do webinars. People will stop meeting. This for a certain period of time, this effect will be ongoing, not forever. Forget low cost. Forget low cost. I mean, you saw the situation with the airlines in India. Some of them are not that good, but how can there be low cost flights when the number of people is reduced? Okay, impossible. So this probably will have an effect. They say they will not serve food on flights. Why? Again, because of Corona. Okay, we will have to sit with a mask in a flight. I don't know how long did you put your mask and try to stay with it. It is very difficult. So I think this will have a big impact. This is an industry currently no one sees, no one can predict its end. On the other hand, we see the technologies which are rising. Since we are at home, we use digital much more. So we buy through the internet much more. But sometimes we buy, but no one can deliver. Okay, so now we see soon drones will do the work. Drones will deliver it. We will not need to see a person at the door, or we don't need to see a person when we speak to, let's say, an airline or a hotel or a restaurant. A robot can take our order the same way. By the way, when we look at the robot, we see a screen. On the screen will be a person sitting somewhere. Okay, but so this is very doable. We just need to move the screen, and the one to do that will be a robot. This is already happening, at least in Israel. In hospitals, this is now a project that has started, was launched during Corona, which brings us to another interesting fact. Many of you, if you tried in your life to deploy your technology with, let's say, a potential customer, you might have encountered the answer of, okay, thank you for coming with the technology, but come on, it will take time. Meaning, we cannot adopt your technology so quickly. So we need to do a POC, and then we will think about ordering it, and then we need to implement it, and you will train us. It will take months. Well, see what happened with Corona. Overnight, technologies were acquired and adopted overnight. So this is something that we need to remind those IT admins and the CISOs of the companies, saying to them, hey, you remember, I came to you before Corona, you said long time. Came Corona, and all of a sudden you adopted technologies within days. So when you need to do, you do. Maybe it's not 100%. Maybe the product was not even ready 100%, but you took it in. Remember this the next time I turn to you. So this is, as we say, on the good side of things, is something that we all need to remember, and for sure will change. I think robots and bots will change to be more human, more empathy, more human-like. This will now be enhanced greatly. I think that remote education, well, it is clear to us that we thought that we are ready, maybe, for remote education. No one in the world was too ready too well, but this is improving. Same as telemedicine. So now we need to be able to scan people from remote, to analyze them from remote, to treat them from remote. So everything to do with remote is now being enhanced, and this is a process that you need to hop, as we say, on this train, because this train has left the station and it is running. So if you have webinar platform, you have content for courseware, for education, you have ideas for remote everything, it is very relevant right now. VR, well, we're stuck at home, we're here for day on end, and we want to relax, we want to go to another environment. So VR is now also, I think, being enhanced greatly. On the medical front, no doubt, as I said, in Israel, we see during Corona many development of different technologies, from, let's say, artificial nose, in a way, nose. I can take into a room and detect if there was a person with Corona, even if he left hours ago. Hours ago, I can detect and alert the people that were in the same room after or with this person. We can now analyze from a distance, we can analyze pulses, we can analyze heat, of course, measure temperature from distance, and this distance is only growing. We see a lot of development on that regard. Startups. I saw there was a question here. Oh, Karen. Oh, okay. That's Manisha saying. Okay. I'm getting towards the end, and soon we will open for questions. So during Corona time, during March and April, there was a survey done by a company called Startup Genome. This research was done by talking to 1,000 startups in 50 different countries and trying to understand the impact. And I remind you again, March and April, that's a month, yes, about a month ago, or almost a month ago, 2 months ago. And the results are the following. So I think now over 50% of startups said they have enough cash, cash flow for about 3 months, and they dry out, okay? And we understand the impact, because raising funds currently is difficult. There is money. I want to say very clear. There is money in the market, meaning private investors probably are less or more reluctant to give away their money right now because of the uncertainty. But some of them see this as an opportunity, saying maybe now I can give less money, maybe find myself a good startup. Okay, so think about it. What is certain is that let's say the standard, the requirement, the prerequisites of any investing party will now increase. They will for sure ask you, okay, so you suffered Corona with the rest of the world. What did you do? How did you handle it? Well, if you say, well, actually it passed, and no, that's not a good answer. Have you been proactive? What did you do during the Corona? Did you try and pivot? Did you call customers? Did you push forward? Did you find opportunity? Did you develop something which was relevant for the Corona? What did you do? It will have a big impact. VCs, well, some VCs, venture capitals, actually raised money before Corona. So they have the money and they invest. Others probably that have the money, did not raise money, still take care of their portfolio, so that they probably will not invest in new startups. As a fact, during the month of this year, 2020, including Corona, Israeli startups raised close to $1 billion. As a fact, raising funds or rounds were ongoing during Corona. Okay, Moveit, which is an Israeli startup for public transportation, was acquired by Intel for $900 million on April. And the CEO said on TV that the deal was signed by Zoom. So what I want to say to you when I say startup of people, it's about your impact, not your startup. It's about what you do, not your startup, not your technology, you as a person, you as a team of the startup. If you are good, nothing changed for you. If you are focused, nothing changed for you. It is a little bit more difficult, but not impossible, as the numbers show. Okay, so by the way, this research showed that during March and April, only 20% of rounds of raising stopped or were canceled. The rest were all going, meaning the discussion to raise the money was still ongoing. It is clear that 70 or maybe 80% of startups laid off some of their workers, or maybe sent them home on a smaller wage, or told them, go sign employment. In Israel, when you sign employment, this is when the government pays the part of the salary, but the startup or the company don't have to pay. That's according to law in Israel. So all in all, it is for sure Corona had an impact on startups and their ability to raise money, but and also on their ability to sell. Which means that the one thing that did not change is the ability of the startup to market themselves, to keep themselves exposed to the face of their potential investors or their potential customers. And I cannot stress enough the importance of you keep pushing on. I know it's difficult. I know you're struggling. I know you think about unemployment. I know you're seeing no money in the bank. I mean, probably most of you keep your day jobs, okay? So you do your work, but currently you don't do much work, maybe, and you're staying at home. And you're saying, let alone this, now I also have my startup. Well, great time for your startup. This is a great time for you to think, how can I do this? What should I do? Think about yourself. Understand that some of you will not go back to work. Okay, so what do? I need to refresh my CV. I need to go on LinkedIn and fix it nicer. I need to maybe go on my website, my company website, and do it nicer. So there's still things to do. Maybe the problem is that when you're by yourself, it's much more difficult. So my suggestion always, just look at the group that we have right now, okay? So we are now about 18, 16, 15 people here. I would imagine that between all of us, there is a lot of experience and knowledge. Some. As you see, Rovshan is helping me, so he exposes me. He puts me here for you to know. But I don't see you guys interact. What are you waiting for? I mean, why don't you write, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm capable and so-and-so, who needs me? Or what can I offer to someone else? You guys need to interact. There is no better time to do that. And by the way, after this conversation ends, you don't need to go home. You don't need, because you are home anyway, okay? Keep the computer open. Put yourself in a bigger forum. Don't be 18. Be 118, 1018. Bring people on board. And the only thing is that you can do is barter between you. I can do this. Who knows this? Who can take me there? Who can offer me this? I can offer you this. What you bring me in return? Have a discussion ongoing. The other option will be that you will stop. You will stop. You will not go. You will not be using this impact of being together, this impact of being digital with everyone, this impact of reaching everyone or anywhere you want in the world. This is what you all need to do right now. Instead of sitting behind this little square with your picture, no one knows who you are. You're not saying, you're not offering, you're not inviting. This is what you need to do. And by the way, remember this for the rest of your webinars. When you go on a webinar, you need to be the first to offer, to give. So I'm so-and-so, I'm very good, I'm an expert on so-and-so, whomever needs my help, I'm here, call me. Let's see until we end this session how many of you will take on my advice, and probably we will see the chat filling up now with what you guys wanna offer. So the good is, again, there's a good thing to all of this, and the good thing is that Corona, like any other crisis, but we did not face such a big crisis, I think, until now. And you probably all are very young, so probably you did not even face something closer. For sure, did not face something closer to this. I'm saying to you this: first of all, stay optimistic. Don't dwell. Don't be pessimist. Don't think the world ended, because you know the world didn't end. And by the way, the most people you will ask, do you know anyone who had Corona? The answer will be no. I don't know anyone who had Corona. Maybe Corona is on your TV. Well, Corona is real. And the numbers of people dying from Corona is higher, much higher than flu. But it is not the end of humanity. It's not the end of you. So stay optimistic. Start daring. Get out of your comfort zone. Go out of this frame and put yourself out there. Try new things. You haven't done this, do it. You now have time to educate yourself. You have time to read more, to know more, to try new things. Don't sit on your bums and don't do anything. Start doing. Be proactive. Try new jobs. So you have done this job until now. Could be, I'm not saying hopefully will not happen to you, but could be you'll lose your job because of the situation. God knows. Your company will shut. Don't wait. Don't wait. If you're I don't know, your work was in a hotel, you know the hotel will take time to come back, if ever. Not if ever, ever, but if ever for the coming time. So change, pivot, do something else. Take the assets, take your experience, your knowledge into something good. Interact with people. People are the ones that you will do business with. People are the ones you're going to work with for. These are the ones who are going to pay your wage. These are the ones who are going to buy your technology. People. Interact with people. Don't just think what you can take from them. First of all, be first to give, and then you will receive. Deal a lot with marketing. Deal a lot with marketing yourself. Cut your expenses. Cut down on expenses. This is not the time to spend. Whatever you can put aside, whatever you can delay for later, you need to do. I'm sure that you do that, but I'm saying be more strict even on that. Easier said than done, I know, but still do it. Adjust yourself for the day after. Adjust yourself for the new normal. Understand that we will be more digital. We will stay remote, but still we need to live. We need to buy. We need to eat. We need to have fun. We need to interact. There are things that we cannot take out of ourselves. Try and see if you can fit to that. Try and see if you can bring any solution, any idea for that. Okay? I put myself available for Vishnu, for Odisha, Startup Odisha. If I can, do more of these webinars, get more people to interact, maybe do bigger sessions where I will maybe moderate between people who want to give to people who want to receive. But for me, the main interest, number one, is people, but it needs to be attached to technology. My personal interest is in tech startups. You can see on my LinkedIn a long list of what I do with Microsoft. By the way, Amazon, AWS, even in India, I work with several companies, the big ones I think that you know. And I can tell you from those companies, life is going on. Yes, there is a struggle from working from home still, but I mean, think about the huge ones. They need to continue their lives. So this is ongoing. So I will stop here. And of course, I invite you all to ask me any questions that you want. If you want to pitch in anything, you want to say anything, you want to share anything with the other people, go ahead. Manisha, you can take it back from here. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, sir, for this highly motivated talk session. It was amazing listening to you. So before we go ahead for this Q&A session, I would request all attendees to post your questions in the comment section so that I can address and our mentor can answer that. Also, we have dropped the feedback form. We would love to listen from you about the session, so you can fill it at the end. So yes, sir. Shall I moderate? Like, I'll ask the questions. You can answer them.
Okay. Other questions or?
Yes, I'll moderate the questions to you. I'll read out the questions to you so that you can answer for the attendees.
Please. Okay.
All right,
Can
sir.
we also do a group photo with everyone? Can they open their cameras and we can see them if they want to be famous? Because then Rovshan will make them famous on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere. So it's up to them.
All right, so we can do that as well. Like, if anyone wants to have a direct interaction with you or ask a question after this Q&A, I'll address few questions. After you answer them, we'll give them the opportunity. If anyone wants to
Sure.
interact to you directly, they can do that.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So shall I start, sir?
Please.
All right. So the first question is by Ashish Tiwari. He asked, what is your advice for the bootstrap startup during this crisis and for the upcoming planned startup?
For the bootstrap, go bootstrapper. What can you do right now? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're bootstrap, if you're a startup, if you're a company, if you're a small business, we all need to do the same. We need to cut expenses. We need to deal with what we can impact on. I mean, we cannot impact Corona. Corona will pass when it passes, but we can impact our customers. So I know that if I'm calling now a potential customer, he will say to me, Tal, enough. You see the problem. I'm under crisis. I don't know where I'm paying tomorrow morning the rent I need to pay. What you want? You want me to buy something from you? I'm saying no. I don't call you to buy anything from me. I call you, in a way to listen to you. Maybe I can offer an advice. Maybe we can do something together. Maybe you really want to use my technology, but you cannot afford right now. Right, forget about payment right now. Just try it. Just do help. Be helpful. Don't go like a businessman, like a salesman knocking on doors. You want to buy? No one wants to buy right now. You want to give for free? Maybe I will take. Okay, but nothing more than that. Still, there is as we say, a mindset. And the mindset is, if we come from the good positive side, if we come helpful, if we offer not a problem, but a solution, and we say, you don't need to deal with it. We will deal with it. We will help you to install. We will give you the service. Don't pay, relax. Then will people listen. And for the bootstrap, use your time to educate yourself, maybe to pivot, think about your focus, think about the focus, see the day after. Forget what was until now. Think about the impact of Corona for tomorrow on your business, on your technology, and act accordingly. And get advice. Get advice. People now have much more time to give you advice. Okay? I'm just saying, have this in mind. Next question, Manisha.
All right, sir. Yes, sir. So there's a question. So she's a student basically. She asked how the remote education is going to impact the lives of students, especially.
I don't think that learning from remote will really impact, our education. I think the impact, first of all, will be on the education system, how to deliver the lessons. This will sure be different, okay? Meaning now they will need to use courseware. I mean, to run a lesson when you see a presentation, that's not a lesson. This is something you can do by yourself. But to interact, have a synchronic, as we say, lesson, when the teacher sees the class, interacts with the class, teaches. Teaching, okay, is something that you do. You need to be active when you teach. You don't read. Reading everyone can do. So I think on the methodology, on the technology being used to perform remote education, there will be a huge impact on how we do it. Definitely.
Okay, sir. So there's another question. Um, it's like in the present scenario or situation, does laying off employees is a good strategy for cost minimizing?
That's a very it's a good and very tough question to answer, and I will say and try and look at it from two sides. Of course, for me, being an employee, to be sent home to unemployment is devastating. It's terrible. It's tragedy. It's tragic. I don't want this to happen to me. But to think it will not happen to me and say to yourself, I don't have to think about anything. It will never happen to me. That's not a way to go about it. You need to take it into consideration. From the employer side, well, if he sends you home and not paying a salary, of course, he reduces the expenses. But any reasonable employer knows that when the day after will come, if he's not calling you, he's calling a new employee. There is a length of time that a new employee needs to be trained. When he is being trained, this is money coming out of the employer's pocket. He's wasting money again. So any employer says to himself, I better have a discussion with my employee. Maybe for a period of time, he is willing to reduce the salary until we, as we say, get back on the horse and start running again, instead of firing him. This is for sure. Most employers will say, I want to stick with my workers and not fire them. Again, because there is this time of training, retraining of new employees, same as to find new customers. So could be that you have a customer that you're calling, your current customer, and he says to you, listen, I really want to stay your customer, but I want to pay less. And you're saying, well, why is that? I also have expenses, and you're not willing. Understand this, same as I said about the employer. We know that the cost of finding a new customer is much higher than maintaining your current one. So I'm saying, be flexible with the current one. Keep them close. Help them. I would say even more. Don't wait for them to call you. You call them. You call them and say, listen, I know you paid me so-and-so rupees until now. Now I want to show you how relevant I am, how well I understand the situation. I want to offer you a reduction, but the reduction is also only for 2 months. They will hug you. They will be so happy, you know? So again, this is about being proactive. This is about thinking outside of the box. This is when you prepare yourself for the difficulties coming ahead. This is what you need to do. My advice to you.
All right, sir. So moving ahead, like there's a question regarding recruitment. So how do you see the recruitment franchise business in Israel and other parts of the globe?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. The line broke. Say again, please.
Uh, so the question is, how do you see the recruitment franchise business in Israel and other parts of the globe?
The recruitment franchise. So
Yes, sir.
that's mean like recruitment agencies, like HR agencies, how they will do.
Recruitment business in Israel and other parts. Basically,
So
he's asking.
I understand. I understand. So recruitment recruitment, since it is still dealing with people, recruitment will continue, I would say, the same way, but they will look for the employees which are more flexible and understandable of the current situation. So they will for sure look for cheaper, less expensive workers that show independence and can handle remote working, meaning working from home, As I said, it is clear some companies will not go back to working 5 days from office. Well, we all heard Twitter say no more office time. That's it. I don't open office anymore. That's Twitter with hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of workers. So we see that employers, and for that matter, HR agencies, they will look for the, let's say, the tough, the innovative, the agile workers, having to offer more than what we say, more than their education or capabilities, also their way of thinking, also their way of handling the current situation. So there will be some adjustment, but still time will tell. Okay.
All right, sir. So there's a yes, sir. So I'll take like last one or two questions. After that we can go ahead. Like there's a question by a startup enthusiast. He basically wants to know, like there are positive and negative effects of this crisis, the pandemic situation that is going on. So he's asking basically how this COVID may alter the startups forever.
Nothing can really alter forever. Okay, it's not alter forever. It has a change, and the change has two sides. One is on the people, meaning the team, and one is on the technology. On the one side, on the other side is the customers. Okay, so we know the major players in the startup ecosystem, okay, are of course the startups, the businesses, which are the expected customers of the startups, and the investors. Investors will be private, VCs, banks, the financial. These are the major players, okay? Maybe we can also mention the academy for their part of education entrepreneurships, okay? So maybe that as well. So the impact on each and every one of us is, of course, different. It's, of course, relevant to our technology. So if my startup was in relation to travel tech, so I had this, I don't know, marketplace where I meet between travelers and travel agencies. Well, that's gone. That will not happen for now. I don't have to think much. What can I pivot on? Nothing. Can pivot on. I can maybe say to myself that people now will travel less overseas, meaning there will be more internal traveling, more in the country. Maybe I need to adjust myself to, if I thought about only foreign countries traveling, maybe now I need to deal with the local. Maybe I need to do something relevant. So the impact will be on the person coming up with the idea and the technology being transformed into the current need. That's the impact we're talking about. Be quick about it, be agile about it, but understand the business. Do not start before you have a business to do anything. Understand your business model, understand there is need, meaning something that you can achieve with that, and then you push on. And for this, you have people that will mentor you. I'm sure you have it in your programs. There are a billion people that can, worldwide, that can give you advice. In the end, the decision is personal and is yours. Any more? Hello?
What is the post-COVID effect on dressing and the apparel industry?
So currently, the effect of Corona is that we don't dress, we don't put makeup, we don't shave the hair, and we look like monsters. Come on, I mean, you see everyone on the screen. We look normal, okay? It's not really this is what happened to us. I think the impact will be on the side of the retail, meaning the way that we buy cosmetics and the way we buy our clothes, retail. This is increasing by the day, be done digitally, first thing. Second is that we want to try it on ourselves, but we're in front of a computer. So this is also an industry that is growing up very rapidly, is the ability of taking a picture and dressing ourselves, but in a real fit. Then will be the actual payment, and then will be the delivery. So also delivery, we see that is building up to be done currently more and more by drones, and it will for sure be enhanced more and more towards this. So all in all, generally, we will still be producing clothes. We will still be using cosmetics and makeup for sure. This will not change. The only thing that will change is the way that we order it, we buy it, we get delivered, and for a maybe short period of time, the amount will change. Meaning, if we don't leave home, why buy new clothes, right? So this has an impact on the quantity of what we do, but I'm sure in time it will go back to normal. Okay, can we wrap?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, technical issues going.
Monisha is gone.
Manisha is fine. Okay. Thanks, Tal. Some technical issue is going on with Manisha. So I will do the vote of
Mm-hmm.
thanks, and thanks for doing all the Q&A. Sorry for we took a little more time from you. We know that is valuable time. So I hope everyone I got that, and we have few more questions that we will answer. You can connect with Tal with in LinkedIn, and I request Rashmi Ranjan Sahu, the government of from government of Odisha, Startup Odisha, to say a few words to our mentor. I request Rashmi Ranjan Sahu, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we hear you, Rashmi.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
I'm well.
Okay. So thank you so much for sparing your time and making yourself available for this valuable webinar and interacted with our startups. I do understand what is going on with the startups and the startup ecosystem. The suggestions you have given will definitely help the startups if they will implement in the next time period. And I also appreciate that the thing you mentioned about the people, yeah, connecting with people will definitely going to be very much important if a startup will try to survive with the product or service whatever he is dealing in. And yeah, this was a quick webinar that we arranged. So as an initiative, we will definitely and try to do some other kind of programs apart from this. But as we understand nowadays, we can't go physical programs or conference kind of things. But digitally, we will try to make you reach to India again.
Thank you so much. For the meantime, I think we can do more this way. We can even think about conducting a specific course. Doesn't need to be too long, but very targeted, very specific.
Yeah.
We can discuss this as well. And my relations and my impression of Odisha during my visit was great. I would love to come back for sure and visit you guys. But for now, we can use this arena as well.
Yeah, sure.
So thanks, Ranjan Sahu, the respective government of Odisha, Startup Odisha delegates. Madan sir also there. So thanks, Atal, for the accepting our request and doing this. And this is just the initial work we working together. So in future we can do more, and especially as you said, virtually we can bring more people. Currently we only allow the registered startups here. So we will do much better, especially targeting startups in the name of acceleration, because we know that you are a guru of in doing lots of stuff in startup acceleration field. So we will definitely work together and we can initiate in India. and also all the CSL team behind this webinar. Thanks a lot. And all the audience, if you have any questions you can approach CSL. Also, you can approach directly to him in the LinkedIn. So our other post, like the delegative, yeah, Roshan, thanks a lot for being there and posting the relevant links, everything. And be touched. You also please share your LinkedIn in the place. We can also keep in touch. And thanks a lot, Rod. So, yeah. So finally, we are winding up this. And thanks for
Okay.
everyone.
Bye. Namaste.
Take care.